Both the Biden and Trump campaigns are calling for donations after the historic conviction in former President Trump's criminal hush money trial. So both candidates say the real verdict will come on November 5th. ABC News contributor, former Republican Congressman John Katko, and former Biden administration Homeland Security official Marsha Espinosa join me now for more on this. John, the Trump campaign just put out an email, and we heard the former president reference this just a little while ago, saying the campaign raised $34.8 million in small dollar donations after the verdict came out. What are you hearing from the Republican Party about all of this? Do Republicans feel like this verdict could actually help them in November?
Well, first of all, I think it's a sad day for America. There's no question about it. A former president is now a convicted felon for the first time in our nation's history. But with respect to the impact it's going to have on the election, the base is the base. And the base already had their preconceived notions on both sides of the aisle before this trial started, and the evidence really didn't matter. What really matters is that crucial voter in the middle, that individual who's going to plug his nose and vote for Trump because they think that a second term of Biden is even worse. And those Republicans now are back in play because of this conviction. And that's why Trump has got to be careful here. He's catering to his base, but he better figure out pretty quickly that his base is with him no matter what, and he better start gravitating towards those crucial swing voters who decide every election. They're always ignored, and they're always ignored to the person's peril. He better wise up, because if he doesn't, he's going to lose them, and that's how close this election is. All the swing states indicate that.
Now, Marsha, in his comments just a little while ago, former President Trump repeated these accusations he's been making that President Biden and the Justice Department were behind this prosecution and conviction. Now, so far, there's been no evidence for that at all, and we know he was convicted by a jury in a case brought by the Manhattan DA. But do you expect the Biden campaign to start leaning into that a little and start responding to those allegations now that Trump is a convicted felon?
Yeah, so that claim, as you mentioned, is absolutely false. And I have to disagree with the congressman that this was a sad day for America. This was a great day for America, and that justice and rule of law was affirmed by 12 jurors. And the sad thing is that all of these GOP candidates are standing by a convicted felon. So what both campaigns and both sides can agree on right now is that this will be decided by the election. So what we can expect the Biden campaign to do is remind voters that there is a convicted felon on the ballot and what is at stake for this election. And the contrast is really dramatic, actually, because what we just saw in Trump's press conference today was a rambling bunch of incoherent thoughts, frankly, and a bunch of lies. And it was all about himself. He's just talking about himself. Well, on contrast, President Biden has been out there talking to voters, talking about the issues that voters actually want to hear about. So he's talking about the day-to-day concerns of people themselves, and voters want to see that.
And John, I'll give you a chance to respond to that, but I also want to get your take on Hillary Clinton is now selling a new coffee mug on social media, saying the words, "Turns out she was right about everything." Apparently, the proceeds are going to her political action organization. What do you make of that kind of response? Is that I don't know. What do you think? If Democrats are sort of looking at this as a good thing and something to celebrate?
Well, it just highlights the partisanship that permeates our political fabric throughout our country right now. And when I said it was a sad day, it was a sad day for America, not for Trump. It's for America to have a president, as a former president, be convicted. But, you know, people can argue whether they agree with it or not. That's fine. But it's a sad day nonetheless. I think the thing that's most ironic about this is, in about another week or two, the president's son is going to be on trial for criminal charges that are brought federally. First time in our nation's history, a sitting president's child is going to be brought. So the very people now that are saying the system is corrupt will probably applaud if he gets convicted. The very people now who are saying he should have been convicted, President Trump, are probably going to say this was a politically motivated one for Hunter Biden. And by that, I'm highlighting the fact that the two sides are hardened. The bases are hardened. And again, I'll reiterate, that doesn't matter. What matters is the people in the middle who are going to decide this election. And if anybody can predict what they're going to do, I think they're dreaming right now. There's so much going on, and they're going to be the difference, and both parties better pay attention to that.
And Marsha, recent polling from ABC News found 80% of Trump supporters say they would continue to support him even if he was convicted. 16% say they would reconsider supporting him if he were to be convicted. And even that was a little while ago. So how much do you think this verdict will actually impact the election? And do you think this is something that Biden should lean into or not?
Well, think about this. Hundreds of House and Senate candidates as well are going to be running for re-election with a convicted felon at the top of the ticket. So the Biden campaign and every other Democrat running for office are going to remind voters of that every day from now until November 5th. So what I think the Biden campaign is actually leaning into was what they've been doing all along, and that's talking directly to voters and issues that they care about instead of just talking about himself, which is what Donald Trump is doing. And frankly, in what we saw today in his remarks was a bunch of lies and attacks on other people, and like he mentioned that they're trying to stop us from buying cars. I didn't understand where that came from. I just bought a new car. Nobody tried to stop me except maybe my husband from another car payment. But, you know, he was attacking immigrants and attacking everyone else instead of talking directly to the voters. And so that's what the Biden campaign is really going to lean into.
All right, John Katko, Marsha Espinosa, thank you both.